Hi, and welcome to your Urban Connection. Remember, this is the channel that is often imitated, but is never duplicated. Now, I want to talk about the upcoming presidential election. As of last night, it appears to me that the table is all set for who will be the candidates for the presidents in 2024. And as you might have expected, those two candidates will be Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Now, I want to take you back to, since this is a rematch, because these were the same two candidates that ran in 2020. And I want to take you back to candidate Donald J. Trump and a question that he asked Black voters to answer. And the question went like this: what the hell do you have to lose? Now, that is a question he asked after talking about the crumbling schools in the Black cities and across America, the poor housing conditions in the Black neighborhoods in America, and all other kinds of trouble, the poor Black leadership in certain cities in America. And he talked about a host of things. And the answer with, so what in the hell do you have to lose? Well, after less than a year and a half, Black folks had their answer. And their answer was just one word: everything. We have everything to lose. And we lost almost everything. The one thing we didn't lose, thanks to the late John McCain, was the affordable health care that was afforded to all Americans. Because of the fact that affordable health care, also known as and referred to as Obamacare, was put in place by the first and only Black president. And so when Trump was first elected, that was his number one issue to get rid of, was getting rid of Obamacare, for one reason: because it was put in place by Barack Obama, his predecessor. Now, so we saw under Donald Trump, America lose its long held abortion protections for women of all races, all colors, all ages. We lost that. That's not only relegated to Black women, that was relegated to all women. So now what we have is we have a situation where Donald Trump has lost the votes of vast majority of American women. Women in the suburbs, women in the projects, women in urban areas, women in rural areas. So now what is Donald Trump doing? Donald Trump has come pandering to the Black community, and doing so with racist, bigoted insults to the Black community in the name of trying to recruit Black people to get behind him. Now, here's the problem. You see, we had in 4 years of Donald Trump, we as Black people saw the real Donald Trump. And we know what Donald Trump is all about. We saw it when Donald Trump referred to Omarosa as a dog, calling her the B word. We saw Donald Trump disrespect a congresswoman by using racist comments, bigoted comments. We saw Donald Trump at his best when he uttered the words in regard to the Charlottesville incidents involving white nationals, white supremacists, and law-abiding protesters, and he uttered the words, there were good and fine people on both sides. We saw who Donald Trump really was, the way in this current campaign, he has insulted, embarrassed, talked down to, using racist language in attempting to pander to the Black community by saying that Blacks are flocking to him because of his criminality during his time as a president. The man is currently facing numerous lawsuits, facing 91 convictions, 91 indictments, and 2 impeachments. So I have a question for Mr. Donald J. Trump. And every Black person in America should be asking the same question. What in the hell do we have to gain from putting you in the White House, Mr. Trump? You see, the problem with Mr. Trump is Mr. Trump thinks that all Blacks are named Tim Scott or Byron Donalds or Ben Carson or Candace Owens or the football player from Alabama. Okay? You see, Mr. Trump's problem is he thinks we're all alike. He thinks that we're a monolith. He claims to have approximately 20 to 23% of Black support going in to the 2024 election. That's a lie. That is a lie by a large margin. If he has 7 to 8%, he would be doing well. To talk about 23%, no way, Jose. Yeah, here's the thing. Mr. Trump is lying to the American public, and his supporters are lying to the American public by showing fake photos of Mr. Trump surrounded by groups of African Americans. Now, I want to tell you people something. These photos are fake photos that are generated by artificial intelligence, AI. Okay? They are taking photos of groups of Black people and inserting those photos inserting Mr. Trump's photos into that picture to make it look like he has support from these Black groups. And he doesn't. These pictures are all fake, just like Mr. Trump is. You see, we've never had a president like Mr. Trump. You see, he, from the very beginning, has lied. He lied about his tax forms, refused to show his tax records, claimed that the IRS would not allow him to show his tax records, and he would show them at the proper time. Well, when is the proper time? When you die, Mr. Trump? Because you didn't show them at all during your 4-year term as president, and you've shown no inclination during this campaign to show them. But you see, we've got you figured out now, Mr. Trump, thanks to Letitia James. Okay? Because Letitia James called your bluff when she got a conviction of your firm, the Trump Organization, for fraud, defrauding insurance companies, defrauding the government, and a judge entered a fine and a judgment against you. And in order for you to appeal that judgment, you will have to cough up $454 million. Now, here's the thing, Mr. Trump. You, since prior to your election, have been bragging about how rich you are. Oh, you're very rich. You have a lot of money. But Mr. Trump, Letitia James has called you on the carpet. And you are now admitting that you don't have liquid 464 or $54 million. In order for you to raise that kind of money, you'd have to sell some assets. And if I'm not mistaken, it was just today, Mr. Trump, that you had a meeting with a very rich man who doesn't brag about how much he has, Elon Musk. Were you attempting to get Mr. Musk to loan you $354 million so you could put up for this fine in order to allow you to appeal Letitia James' judgment and Judge Enron's judgment against you for fraud that you've committed? You see, Mr. Trump, I've always believed one thing. Any person that brags about how much money they have, they usually don't have very much. So with all your braggadocious about how successful you've been, even though you filed bankruptcy about 6 different times, you've bragged about how much money you have, but then when you call on the carpenter to produce a portion of that money, you have to admit you don't have it. Now, what that means is that you lied again, which you're very good at, by the way. But you see, Mr. Trump, there's an old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So the Black community has been fooled by you once. We now know who you are. We know what you stand for. You're not going to fool us twice, okay? At least not very many of us. Now, I understand there are some bootlickers out there who will believe every single word you say, who will tap dance, okay, to have your acceptance. They'll lick your boots to have your acceptance. And I've named a few of them. Herschel Walker, the football player. Tim Scott, the dumb senator from South Carolina. Ben Carson, idiot. Candace Owens, who wants to be white, but she can't change her complexion. But she tries her damnedest to let you know she'd love to be a white supremacist, So I just want to say this to all of you people. Don't believe the lies. Don't believe the photos. And don't believe the words of Donald Trump when he tells you about how much black support he has, because he doesn't have it. And don't believe the words of his son, Donald Trump Jr., when he lies and tell you that black men all over the country are running up to him saying, hey, man, you're my hero. Donald is just as big of a liar as his daddy. Can't believe a word he says. And Donald Jr. wants to show photos of an NFL linebacker and thinks it's funny and smart to say this is a picture of Michelle Obama. We know what you're insinuating, Donald Jr. We see you for what you are. You're a bigoted racist just like your dad. And we're not buying any of that. Now, I want you folks to understand something. Donald J. Trump is running for the presidency in 2024. But I want you to tell me, have you noticed two things, two people that are missing from his side on every one of his rallies, in every one of his TV appearances? You notice his wife, Melania, is nowhere to be found. Did you notice that his daughter, Ivanka, is nowhere to be found? If they don't want to be seen with him, then you and I certainly don't want to be seen voting for him. And when this is a guy that has, as we speak, at least 16 members of his former cabinet are telling you that this guy is not fit to be in the White House and is a threat to our democracy, ladies and gentlemen, what more do you need to know? These people know him best. His wife will not even appear with him at a rally or at a campaign event. His own daughter will not appear with him. Have you ever noticed that she doesn't want any part or is not playing any part in this election campaign? And neither is his wife. Do you know why? Because they know what you and I should know. Donald Trump is a crook and a con man and a liar and a rapist and a convicted, he's already been convicted of rape of Jean Carroll. And he is not fit to be anywhere near the White House because he's already admitted that on day one, he wants to be a dictator. And you know what that means? That means take away all of your rights so that whatever the hell he says goes. It's his way or the highway. He wants to be in a situation where he can have members of the military assassinate his opponents and his objectives, and he suffer no consequences. In other words, he wants 100% immunity from any and every crime he commits and everything he does. And if that is not enough to upset you and get you to thinking, is that the kind of world you want to live in? Is that the kind of country that you want to be under a king or a dictator like Russia or some of the other dictatorship countries, countries that are run by dictators who will take away your freedom of speech? You cannot criticize them. You cannot protest any of their actions. It's their way or the highway. That's what Donald Trump wants to do for America. And if you're like me, you're having none of it. And if you care about democracy, if you care about the way your children, what kind of world they will live in, then you will think twice before you even consider voting for Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is in this for one man only, Donald J. Trump. Think about it. See you next time.